To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. Okay, so I'm back at the tiny house build again today, and I'm going to continue installing the roof. Yesterday you saw me get the 1x4s up on the roof, and then I put the fascia trim on. Well, today I'm going to put the eave trim on, which goes over the fascia trim. A lot of trim. I've talked about this a lot. You got to really study up on the trim. And then I think there's going to be enough time that can at least install a few panels, if not all of them, on one side. Then tomorrow, I know that a lot of you are going to say, well, now finish the other side of the roof. But what I want to do is, if I can get all the panels installed on this side of the building, then I'm going to install this chimney here through the roof. That way we can start getting heat in here, because Carolyn is making significant progress on her projects. So I've been telling you that she wanted to buy pallet board so she could put it on the walls. And so here she is making a lot of progress. And she's just using little trim nails, cutting them out by herself. She's doing it all by herself. She's just really having a good time with it. We came up yesterday and she only got a layer or two done, and then she came back up last night. She was pretty excited about it. Right here is not a stud. There's no stud here. So you see that we have a seam. And we really went back and forth on this as to how we wanted to approach it. So what she's doing is she's putting a little piece of scrap board like this behind it, nailing it on, using like a gusset plate like you do on rafters or trusses. So that's worked out pretty well. It makes it pretty solid. Then what she does is she drives a little trim nail right into and kind of toenails it down into the board on the bottom. And it gives it this staggering look, and she really has commented many times how much she likes that staggered look. So making a lot of progress, but we got to get heat in here. Yeah, it's just too cold to sit here on your floor, just nailing up boards. There's just no activity. You're not working up a sweat or anything. So, at least when I'm out on the roof, I'm working up a sweat a little bit. So again, yesterday I showed you, we installed the 1x4s up on the roof, and I don't know if you can see it, but I have the fascia board trim going down on this side. And then today, this won't take long, I don't think, I'll put the eave trim right over that. So what it is this trim goes from the bottom up, but this trim comes from the top down. It will sit like that on the roof. But I got to cut off a piece here at the end, so it will wrap around the end of the 2x4. So to demonstrate, let's assume this is your fascia. And so it will sit inside like that. But this here has to wrap around the board to here. So just like yesterday, I'll take my little grinder and I will grind that piece off. That worked out pretty well. I'd actually kind of wish I had a Dremel. I could get a Dremel blade. That would be a little bit of finer cut, but the grinder wheel's working fine. And up there, you can't really notice any flaws in the cut. Okay, so now you can see how this wrapped around that board. Now you can nail that in, or I guess it secures it in place. It's a little tedious work that has really confused me on this. I went to a web page that has videos on how to do this. Trying to memorize how to do it all and keep track of everything has been one of my biggest challenges, aside from having to buy the stuff. because there's so many different product names and pieces that you have to buy. So I put that up there to show you, hopefully you could see that the trim is cut at a 90-degree angle. But the roof is larger than 90 degrees. I don't know what it is, 110. When I was down at Dad's house, we had the same problem on his roof. The eave trim, you actually have to take a piece of board, lay it on the corner there, and you hammer it down to bend it out so it will fit appropriately on the eave trim. Now, this came from the manufacturer that he bought it from. He called him up and says, it doesn't fit. You gave me a 90-degree bend, and my house is not, it's larger than 90 degrees. And that's the instructions they gave me, was to pound it down like that. So that's what I'm gonna do here. Okay, I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see that on the camera, but I've been able to flatten it out a little bit. I tell you, it sure does mess it up. It doesn't look as nice when you have to do that. I just can't imagine why you gotta do that, but it is what it is. I guess they try to save cost by not having too many tool dies that have to cut different pieces. All right, so I drug one panel up here. It's not attached yet. I just kind of got it hooked there on the bottom. I got all the eave trim put up on this side. So I went back down and I reviewed the videos that I've been watching on YouTube from this manufacturer that is down in Florida. Well, they're actually here in Missouri too. They're kind of all over the country. They got really good videos, but terrible customer service. Long story, previous video. I apologize for the lack of filming today. It's been a real struggle being by myself and trying to have enough hands to do everything. This is real challenging, and then also try to film. And it's windy, which means the panels are blowing when I try to drag them up here. Not complaining, just explaining why you're not getting a lot of video. Now, what I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to start screwing these in with these screws here, and they're expensive, at the bottom. And so at every ridge, right next to the ridge, you're supposed to put a screw right there next to the ridge, not on the ridge. So on the bottom and the top, you're supposed to put it at every ridge. And then the 3 center boards, you see I got 3 center boards, you're supposed to put it on just one side of the ridge, not on each side of the ridge. Now you're supposed to start at the bottom and work your way up. So you start at the bottom and you go horizontally across, then you go to the next board, you go horizontally, so forth. The problem is there is no way I can do that by myself. If I had somebody holding it, yeah, I could do that, but I don't have anybody holding it. So I'm going to just attach a couple screws up here at the top to hold on to it, and then I'll go down, screw the couple at the bottom, come back up here, unscrew these, get rid of them temporarily, come back down, finish up, and then go back to the top. I'm not too worried about leaking. If I create a hole, I'm not too worried about that because the ridge cap will be over these screws. So the rain will never get to these screws if for some reason I was to mess up the hole, taking the screws out, putting them back in. Now, this is very important also. Here is a little lip right there. It's only on one side of the panel. It's important that when you put your next panel down, that this lip is underneath that panel. And so you got to do that all the way across. That keeps it from popping up out of the panel. I also have to put down a little strip of foam, I guess is what it is, and it matches the ridges, so it's got little bumps on it. Now the first panel is the most critical panel to put on. You got to make sure it's square and centered and the whole thing. Once you get this panel on, then the rest of them you just slide on over the top of the next one, and it just goes right down the line. So I got 3 panels out of 6 completed today, plus the trim I put on. That means I got 3 more panels to put on this side. I'm already running late today, it's 12:30. Last time I looked at the clock, it was 10:30. And I went ahead and put up another, I thought 1 panel, but maybe it was 2 panels. And here it is, 12:30. Man, time flies when you're working hard and having fun. Man, this has been a great day. I've been really looking forward to this. I've been scared of just terribly scared that something was going to go wrong and I was going to make a serious mistake. But so far, everything's going pretty good. It sure is pretty. I hope I can inspire you to create something beautiful today. Thanks for watching.